Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. For those of you on the call I haven't met, my name's Elise. I'm the Customer Success Manager at Stratus Consulting Group. It's my job to ensure that you're getting the most out of your software, and that means maximum efficiency, accuracy, and more time working on the business, not in the business. Stratus is a recognised leader and trusted ERP partner. We're dedicated to delivering cutting-edge solutions that drive growth and time-saving opportunities for you, our customers. This is why we've partnered with best-of-breed partner TOKN, showcasing FieldSafe today, a product that allows you to complete your safety documentation from the palm of your hand on your own device, anywhere, anytime. Please meet Clint. He is the co-founder and CEO of TOKN, and he will explain how FieldSafe will allow you to proactively manage risk and ensure your team stays safe and alert, and you're going to get immediate visibility of your compliance records. We'll have plenty of time at the end of the presentation to take any questions you might have, so please add them to the chat window as they come up, and please make Clint feel welcome. I'll hand over to him now.
Thanks, Elise. Thanks very much for hosting this and having us represent TOKN here today. Thanks everybody for dialing in. It's great to see you all there. Okay, we might get straight into it. So my name is Clinton Schroeder. I'm the co-founder CEO at TOKN Technology. We're a digital add-on platform for a lot of the mid-tier ERP products in the market. We partner with MyOb, Microsoft, SAP, IFS, and a few others to help companies like yourselves actually move along the path of digital transformation a little bit faster, a little bit smoother. Our goal is to be the #1 rapid app platform for the mid-tier market. And a big part of that is health and safety and making sure that your teams get home safe and that your business is in good shape for that. So welcome. I'm going to cover a little bit of what we do from that sort of capability today, and your comments and questions are welcome in that regard. I might just give a little bit of a background. So our company is founded in 2016 in Perth. We were all ex-enterprise systems consultants, and we saw a big gap in the market around digital capability for a lot of the business systems out there. So how do users and managers get better access to the investments they've already made, the systems and the data that they've already got? And we founded TOKN, and we put a set of capabilities together that really help mid-tier companies not only create and roll out these applications, but actually run them securely at scale for a fraction of the cost. And we've put a lot of smarts and building blocks in place to allow that to happen. A part of that are the apps themselves and the app templates, but the other part is actually the infrastructure to run them and integrate that to your business system. So we've been around since 2016. We've won Innovator of the Year. We've won the most Transformational Business Solution of the Year, and we're finalists in the Telstra Best of Business Awards this year as well. So a lot of upcoming technology in the space. So yeah, just watch that going forward. Today's topic, as I mentioned, is on health and safety, and TOKN, we focus a lot, because we're Perth-based, a lot on asset-intensive industries, and a big part of that is how we prepare for and make sure that our businesses are in good shape. For those of you that don't know, there was a big change in the health and safety legislation in March last year, and that really brought, some alignment across the board for health and safety across the states. But it also lifted the bar and made, point of liability a little bit more clearer, if you like, in terms of health and safety within a business. Part of that legislation describes what a PCBU is. PCBU being, the owner of the business and who's actually responsible, for something if something were to happen in the business. So for those of you that do focus on asset intensive work and have people in the front line, whether that be construction, mining, plumbing, electrical or other, it's something that you need to be aware of, and as a business owner, make sure that you've got in hand. But I guess that's very vague, and I think there's still a lot of ambiguity in the market in terms of what does got that in hand actually mean? You know, what do health and safety standards actually look like for us? Part of that is the term safe system of work, and I guess the consensus is that if you have a good safe systems of work in place in your business, you've gone a long way, right, to making sure that you've tried and you've got a compliance record to prove your business is operating in the right way. Okay, when we look at safe systems of work in the industry and across the state and the country, the things that stand out are these 4 elements here. So number one, that your business and yourself are on top of the risk assessments and other safety interactions that are happening in your business. Okay, so you're capturing them regularly and you've got a record to prove that. All right, risk assessments can be things specifically where you are taking note of the risks that your business is facing and that your staff are facing, that you identifying the hazards, that you're putting controls in place to mitigate those hazards, and thereby effectively reducing the risk. Okay, so that can be in the form of a take 5. It can be in the form of a field inspection check, a workplace inspection check. It could be a number of different interactions, but essentially what we're doing here is we're looking for hazards, we're looking for controls, and we're trying to reduce that risk and learn for future. Okay. The second big element of safe system of work is training and compliance. So are you making sure that the people that work for you, whether they be employees or contractors or volunteers, are they trained? Are they aware of the work that they've got to do and the risks that might be exposed to them? Okay, and that can be quite a difficult thing for remote workforces. Okay, so how do you make sure that they've completed a specific induction module, for example? Okay. Thirdly is communication. You know, and this is a big one, ongoing one, nothing new. We know about this for years, but I guess with modern technology, this is also taking it on a new spin. You know, so how are we communicating with our workforce? How are we keeping them up to date with safety information? Are they actually reading that information? And are we doing it regularly? Okay. There are smart tools available now to help with this, but it's something as simple as a toolbox talk in the morning, or you know, a safety share about what might have happened in recent times, just to keep people aware of what's going on. Also very important. And then lastly, and probably the most important element of this is your compliance record or your record keeping. Okay, do you have an accurate record in your business of your safe system of work? So for example, if something were to happen, what can you fall back on, right? It's all very well that you talk about it, but it becomes really important when something does actually happen in the business. So while this is not a conclusive list, by no means it is these items do come up a lot, and I guess this is what FieldSafe as a solution focuses on. We've tried to package up a little bit of software that really encompasses this and makes it easier for mid-tier companies to get on top of. We like to refer these days to the concept of the digital site. We like to think that we're moving away from paper and you know, becoming a little bit smarter in that regard, but we still got a long way to go. But the good news is there is technology out there now that can help you simplify this process. You're probably already doing a lot of these things anyway in the business, but this will help you make sure that you've got a good compliance record, and that it's a little bit easier for you as a business owner to manage ongoing as you scale more employees and contractors into your business. Okay, just ensuring that they're more informed, up to date, that you've got visibility of those records when you need them, and that most importantly as well, that your employees are engaged with what you're giving them. You know, are they able to are they wanting to know more about this type of information, right? Because if you give them something and they're not really, engaged with it, they're not going to do it, or they're not going to use it either. So, okay. Just by way of reference, we did a bit of work over the last 2-3 years with the National Electricians Communications Association. We started in WA, and we're now rolling that out across the country. But essentially, we represent pretty much all the electricians in the market at the moment. So a lot of electricians out there who want to get hold of our product. It's already available through the association. They provide some safety capability for the electricians, and that's gone really well. So it's pretty much gone through a lot of assessment and trials in the market with some great success as well. So there was a need in the market to allow electricians to better get on top of their compliance record, to better communicate with their teams, and to make sure that they had a safe systems of work in place. TOKN put together a series of applications that actually help them do that on a day-to-day basis. So, good example of FieldSafe in action in our market. Just by way of an illustration, a little bit deeper, I guess, and on a technical level about how TOKN actually works. So, FieldSafe is a safety suite of applications, but it runs on our TOKN platform. TOKN is a cloud service. We're able to provision these templates really quickly. We do that for FieldSafe and safety, but we also do it for a number of other applications. The beauty about that is it's integrated into your business system. So this is not something that just is a standalone off-the-shelf product. It actually integrates with your business system. So for example, if you're running MyHub Advanced or one of the MyHub products, and you're actually managing projects and jobs in the field, and your safety interaction relates to those jobs, you can actually bring that reference information into your application. In other words, you can create a risk assessment related to a particular project, and you can actually save that risk assessment against that project. So just to bring this to life a little bit, it really helps with your reporting. It helps with your visibility of what's going on, and also leverages the data in your business system already, so you don't need to have another system of record as well. Okay, so TOKN helps with that. It really integrates to that business system. It also helps with us running these apps on different devices as well. So we're able to run on desktop, Android, iPhone, in the field, because TOKN has already built that software and allows that to run across those devices. So it's helping us connect to the data, but it's also helping your users interact with the apps really on a much easier way. All right. So what are we talking about from a FieldSafe capability perspective, if you like? These days, you get a lot of forms in the market, and while that is probably the crux of what you're doing with question sets, forms, illustrations, the FieldSafe module actually is a lot more deeper than that. Okay. It's helping us do a lot of things that the device allows us to do. So for example, when you do a risk assessment, we can actually record the geo stamp of where you're doing that risk assessment, so that we can include map snippets on the reports and things like that. So we have a little bit more control about what's actually happening in that interaction. We can incorporate things like photo capture, QR code scanning, digital signatures, push messaging, all of those powerful components of a proper safety tool that you'd expect to have are part of FieldSafe as well, right? So it's not just a static form that you capture and it gets saved to a spreadsheet somewhere. It's actually a living, breathing digital tool. All right. What's part of FieldSafe? We've got a number of templates as part of FieldSafe. Depends where you want to start, really. While a couple of them are probably the most prominent, we do cover, as you can see, a broad breadth of safety interactions, right from Take 5 risk assessment and incident reporting, right through to even blood alcohol tests, field leadership applications, and workplace inspections. So it really depends on what's important to your business. As I said, there's no clear standard on what these forms should entail and not. But we've done a lot of work in the market with a lot of asset-intensive companies, and we've put together a set of capabilities here that that are pretty comprehensive, okay, across the board. All of these applications come with a cloud data store. So in other words, all the information that's being captured is available to you in your cloud data store for reporting at any time. And as I said as well, they do come with integration to your business system. So if you need to actually access job information or save records and attachments into your business system, this comes with that as well. All right. Yeah, that's just a view of what some of the record keeping looks like and the dashboard views of it. So as that data comes in from your app, you as a business owner have full compliance view of what's actually being captured at what point, right? And you can work with that data, whether you want to put it into a reporting view or whether you want to be able to just extract a particular report for a particular day. It's available to you at any point in time, okay? On a demand basis via your company account that sits within the TOKN platform. Okay, I'm going to actually just jump into it now. I'm going to show you a little bit about what it looks like from an application perspective. I'm also going to show you a bit about the back end, and then I'm going to open the floor to any questions about this and how you can get it set up. All right. So let's do this. Right, can you see my phone on the screen? I'm hoping you can. Yep, I think it's come up. So what I've done here is I've actually opened up our FieldSafe application. As you can see, the first thing I'm presented with is a nice, clear feed of information. And this is a great starting point in terms of getting comms out to your business. So while you're asking them to do a risk assessment, you can also share with them some really good information about what's happening within the business. This is driven from the TOKN platform. We have what we call a content management service, and it actually publishes content into the application, whether that be a safety focus for the month or perhaps a recent incident that you want to share with your teams. It's a nice way to actually have that with photos, videos in there, so you can actually engage your teams and get them across what's going on. Remember, communication is a key element of a safe system of work. You might be doing this by email blasts, but as you know, these days emails are not being read as often as we'd like, and especially with the younger generation, you want to get them on some sort of messaging comms platform if you can. So at the moment, I'm displaying the news feed, the safety feed, but you can add other content as well. You can add company news into this. You can share information about what's going on in your organization. It's also got a calendar function to show events and upcoming bits of information that are important to the business as well. So there's a little bit of content that you can use within the platform. Down here is our toolbox. So if I open up the toolbox, this is where you start to bring in your different safety capabilities and tools that you need, right? As I said, TOKN does FieldSafe, but it actually does a whole lot of other apps, whether that be your time sheeting, whether that be your leave requests or your expense captures, all can be done through the same platform. I'm going to have a look at the TOKN side of it today because that's what we're talking, the safety side, so that's what we're talking about. And as you can see, I've just provisioned a couple of test safety apps from the FieldSafe suite for us today. I've got an incident report, I've got a risk assessment, I've got a pre-start, and I've got a journey management plan. These are fairly common interactions in the business. These are things that people would probably use more often than most. And I guess if you've got your handle on what's going on with these interactions, it really gives you some sort of insight and control as to what's going on in the business. I'll start by looking at the risk assessment. A risk assessment can take on many forms, but essentially what we're doing here is we're doing a risk assessment for each and every job or project that we're working on. The first thing I'm presented with is a bit of history as to what I might have done, in the past. As you can see, I've raised something before. I've got a GPS coordinate stamp as to where I raised it. I've actually got the option here to email a copy to someone from my device if I need to, and that will email them a PDF template of it. So often you might get asked to present your risk assessment or show me what you've done. I can actually tap on it and I can actually take whoever needs to know through the risk assessment. The first bit of information here is basic data, and this is all a configurable part of the app, by the way. But here you can see I can select a site, drop down of sites, and this can come from your My Advanced system. It can come from your Greentree system. It can come from your Microsoft system, or you can hold that information within FieldSafe itself. I have to put in a date. If there's any address information maintained behind that contact, it will come through as well. Just basic information. I can also specify a job or project over here as well, and this would come from your business system too. The next bit of information I'm presented with is, and this is something we ask specifically from a WA perspective, but am I working on any high-risk construction work, right? And this is quite an important distinction to make, because if you are, you do need to actually complete a safe work methods instruction as well for the work that you're dealing on. So the state legislates that there's a series of high-risk construction work, and these are all legislated items. It's nothing that FieldSafe's made up, but you need to really understand, are you working on anything that involves one of these high risks, all right? So things like working at heights, working on telecommunication towers, things like that. If you are, you need to then what we call allocate a safe work methods instruction. Now, you can, using FieldSafe, you can upload your own safe work method instructions, or you can use what you've got right on that site. But in this case, there's a list of them here that I've uploaded. And when I've uploaded it, it's actually presented me with the, it's a little bit small in that screen, I'll put it sideways, with a blank safe work method instruction, just highlighting what I need to do as part of managing that risk, all right? Whether it be from a PPE perspective or from a procedural perspective, it's really good to have those things logged and saved as part of the interaction, okay? There's an option here to also highlight any other relevant safe work method instructions that could be related to part of that job. On the next page, I've got the ability to highlight any other hazards that might not be reflected in that method instruction. So for example, there might be another hazard that I need to take care of. I've got the ability to capture that hazard and put in any controls that I put in place. So that could be, potentially busy intersection, and we might need to have traffic management in place. Okay. All right. So, and you can continue to add as many hazards that are related to the specific job that you're doing. All right. After that, I've got the ability to add people who are in attendance to this risk assessment. So who is involved? Have I got someone that's, vouched for the controls I put in place? And you can add as many of those from your system as you need to. All right. Then there's the ability to also capture a digital signature to sign off to say that you certify that the control measures are actually in place and that you deem the site safe. All right. And that's a nice check and balance that you've got as well as part of your compliance record. And after that, you can submit the record and that'll be in TOKN directly. And that's an embodiment of a risk assessment. We do about 4 to 5 different versions of it, depending on what suits your business. But in all of them, there'll always be an element of identifying the hazards and the controls in place and making sure that you've reduced the risk of the task that you're doing. Okay. The other app I'd like to show you is our pre-start app. Pre-starts are quite important as well. These are something that you probably do every day, either on a machine basis or on a vehicle basis. You'd go around and make sure that the machine or vehicle is in good working order. If there's anything wrong, it would be good to actually take note of that, the severity involved in that, and either stop the work or maybe make sure that at least that it's reported to the maintenance team or somebody that can actually do anything about it. Again, the first thing you see here is a bit of history about what I might have logged before, but I'm able to, at the bottom, create a new record for a pre-start. So here I can select a date. I can select a vehicle registration. So this is quite nice. You can add all your vehicles. You can even add them in from the device as well, and that'll bring in some information about the vehicle that you're doing a pre-start for. You can enter your site information, odometer information, and even the next service date if that's applicable. Then you're presented with a series of checks and balances. In other words, what might be or might not be working. So brake lights, driving lights, steering, headlights. Maybe there's a cracked headlight, right? You can even use voice to text. You can go through your checks, make sure everything's done. Communications, first aid kit, water. And then you can even capture an image. Take one off my screen of the actual incident to highlight what might need to be done, and that will then save that incident for you until such time as you're ready to process it. This can be emailed to a particular maintenance team. It also saved directly into TOKN. We can also integrate this to your maintenance system as well. So for example, if we wanted to create off a new job in an advanced or green tree based on the pre-start, that's possible too, because we've got that integration for you. So a lot you can do with the pre-start. You can customize that form to take care of the question sets that you as a business are focusing on. That's part of the configuration and setup of the app. But the important thing is that people can get onto this quite quickly, make sure that they're doing their checks every day, and that your assets, vehicles, people, and equipment are looked after. All right. The third interaction I want to talk about, and it's also a very common one and something that we need to take care of more and more these days, is our incident reporting. So incident reporting is not something we like to use, but it's something that's very necessary and used to take note of incidents as they happen in the business. Mainly because we want to learn from what happened so that it doesn't happen again. Now, there's various classifications of incidents that can happen, various severities. The important thing is that you're capturing the incident, number one. Number two, that you're assessing the risk associated with that incident. In other words, what is the potential and actual severity here? And then lastly, that you're actually learning from it, that there's corrective actions involved, and that things are happening because of what's being recorded. And today, this extends into the realm of psychosocial illness as well. We need to, as people protectors, make sure that we are looking more broadly at incident reporting across the business. So it is something that you need to have in place, and make sure that whatever tool you're using is flexible enough to cover the risk, the whole risk that's associated with what you're doing. So if I look at this, we've tried to keep this as succinct and as straightforward as possible. There's two parts. There's a part here of actually logging the initial incident, but there's also an investigative part that comes with it from a back office perspective. So what happens after the event's captured? Are we actually doing anything about it? And I'll show you that when we look at the back end system. But to capture the incident, it already knows who I am. It already knows the time and day that I'm reporting. I can change that if I want to. I can put in a location. I can select a client and business unit if I need to. And this is quite freely configurable to suit your business, whether you need it or not. And then most importantly, what is a brief description, right? Maybe we can say dropped object. On left foot, okay. We can capture an image if we need to about what happened straight away. We can select a site where that might have happened. We can then put a more detailed description if we want to into that, if we've got that available preventable, it doesn't have to happen, and then any immediate action taken. This really is the basics that we need to capture, and we want to keep it simple like this for our staff to use, because number one, we want them to do it. We want them not to be an onerous task, right? So that's what we do, and we submit it. All right, so that'll submit that incident into TOKN. From here, a manager or a team leader will be alerted to the fact that an incident's been captured, and it'll be further classified based on the information we've supplied. All right, and I'll show you that in a second. That's the second part of the app. But that's a really neat, succinct way, comprehensive way of at least capturing that incident. Before I go to the back office system, I just want to show you one more app, and that is our journey management plan. The journey management plan is also quite an interesting and useful tool, largely used by organizations where people are traveling between sites, and they are actually making sure that they arrive safely at the site that they're getting to. You know, if, for example, you're leaving Whaleback sites at 3 in the afternoon and you're traveling to Port Hedland at 5 in the evening, you want to make sure that you've actually reached that site, okay? If you don't reach that site, what happens? You know, who's alerted to the fact that you haven't arrived? You can, a lot of this is paper driven today, so you'll let the gatehouse know I'm leaving and I'm due to arrive, and when you arrive, you let the gatehouse know manually by phone that you've arrived. But there's quite a lot of risk involved in that. There's a lot of remote conditions, especially in WA and the rest of the country. What TOKN does is it allows you to digitally capture your journey before you depart, and it'll actually notify you first of all to let you know that you haven't checked in. If you still don't check in after a period of time, it will then notify your one-up manager that you haven't checked in. So it's a sort of fallback safety mechanism to allow your teams to travel safely and arrive on site. I'm just trying to see there if I can get into the app to show you guys. Oh, okay, so I'm having a bit of trouble with that one. I'll come back to that in a minute. Just want to do a bit of a reset on that. Okay, there we go. Managed to get through the test system. So the first thing you see is a few safety reports that, or journey management reports that I've logged. Just having a look at this one that I've submitted. If I go into it, I can see all the detail and the signature that I put onto it. But this is quite a nice record to actually understand what I've done. Okay, I can create a new report. So first thing I need to do is who's the driver and the driver information. That's the most important bit. I can put in a site that I belong to. I can then start to put in the passenger information. So I can put myself perhaps as one of the passengers. I've already got my mobile number there. And I can add other passengers as well, just so that I've got a full record of who's traveling. The next thing that I need to do is make sure I've identified who my journey manager is. So who does TOKN have to contact in the case that something were to go wrong? So I can actually specify a journey manager. And I can actually add their mobile number in, as well as an email. I can also add vehicle registrations as well if I have them, and it'll record that information too. The next bit of information is important. It's about my departure, so departure date, time, and point. Let's say I was going from a particular departure point and I was due to arrive the same day, maybe a couple of hours later at a particular arrival point. Okay, I can also specify any stops that I might be making along the way if I plan to do that. The next thing, it's a bit of a checklist again. So is my vehicle in good working order? Am I fit to make this journey? Right. So I can customize the checklist. Do I have sufficient water? Do I have a map? Have I notified the journey manager? And so on. I then just have a declaration signature as well to make sure that I've declared that, and I can submit it, right? And that'll be logged in Token, ready to notify my one-up manager if I don't make it on time. If I do arrive on time, Token gives me the ability to digitally check in to make sure that I've notified the system and my one-up manager that I'm safe, and that they don't need to send out the emergency response team to find me, right? So that is I guess one of the most important elements of the journey management app, just to make sure that you've logged your journey, people know about what you're doing and where you're heading, and that it's a safe trip. Right. Just logging there. While that's loading, I'm going to bring up Token itself so we can see how FieldSafe and Token are recording all the safety interactions that we're having. This is the login to the cloud service for Token that we've got, and this is where all your safety interactions are located, and you can manage your data from this end. So each client of ours gets their own company account within Token. This account is linked to various business systems. So depending if you're running Advanced or EXO or Microsoft, we can actually integrate using our Token Connect module to those different business systems, right? This is an example company account, as you can see. We also provision one or many instances with your company account. So we, for example, you might have a development environment, and that's where you're trialing or testing out your applications. You might have a quality environment that's linked to your test MyOps system, and then you might have a production environment where that is your live environment. And you can have different groups of users all interacting with safety apps in the different systems, and you can actually monitor that and manage that application life cycle using Token. In this case, as you can see, I've logged into Token Industries. I'm in the development environment here, and you can see I've got some what we call cloud data widgets down here for the different safety apps, right? So these are basic interactions that we've logged in the past, and things that we might want to see. So, for example, if I go into the incident report, I can see the incident I logged earlier around the dropped object on my left foot. Just by drilling into that, I can see straight away it's logged that incident, and this is where I will do my further analysis of the incident. So what are the pre and post events that led to me dropping my object? What was I not doing the job correctly? Was I distracted in the job that I did? Did I not have the right tools for the job? All of these things need to be analyzed and added as part of the incident. We call it the 5 whys, and you start to build up your analysis of the incident using that analogy. So you can go through the 5 whys. You can add any causal factors. You know, was it environmental? Was it individual team action? Was it organizational? And so on, right? And then you can also add any actions or corrective actions and assign people responsible to those actions. So, for example, you know, I want somebody to make sure that we've got proper lifting equipment in place, and I want people to be trained in that lifting equipment. So that could be one of the actions that I put in place here to make sure that we don't have these types of incidents happening again. You can also upload photographic evidence of that corrective action being done. And you've got a full record here in Token of not only the incident, but what we did about it. And you can add as many pre and post events to that incident too. So it might be a little bit more deeper than that. It might be a bit more of a complicated incident involving third parties and other things that need to be reported. You then need to build up a bit of a timeline as to what happened to that incident. But provided you've got a good way of analyzing that incident, and you've got a good way of keeping the record, that should be fine. This also comes with quite a comprehensive incident overview report. So as you start to add information into your incident, you can build up an incident overview report like this. And you can risk rate it, you can add witnesses, and you can actually then have a full, I guess, a bit of information about that incident that happened. Okay. Some of the other bits of information we've got here relate to the journey management plan, the pre-start, and the risk assessment. Just looking at the risk assessment, there's the risk assessment I logged earlier. One thing I wanted to show you is the PDF report that comes with all of these transactions. So we're able to, I'm just going to download this to my desktop, I think. Yeah. These all are designed to look and feel like your business. So there's an example of an incident report that was done on a particular day. It's actually recorded the GPS coordinates. It's put in a stamp of where that incident might have been raised. It's got a bit of the general information. It's got the swims that are referenced. It's got any other hazards that are referenced, and team members and signatures. So a very nice, succinct, comprehensive record of your risk assessment, should you have to fall back on that. And often this could happen 3, 4, 5 months after the fact. You know, if you're doing this on a bit of paper, that's always a bit of a risk, because you may have done the assessment, but there's no record of it. Okay, so in TOKN, all of your interactions are nicely recorded, and you can always fall back and go and have a look at those whenever you need to. Apart from all of this, I just also wanted to cover off on the learning management side. So just going back to the app. In our app, we've got this little red icon that's showing on the top here. This is an optional extra feature that that TOKN and FieldSafe has. It's our mobile learning management player. If I click on that, I can see a little bit of a personal profile. That information is actually coming out of my MyOps system. It allows you to request a change, by the way, as well to that information. But more importantly, I can see my inductions over here. So if I've scheduled any inductions to my teams regarding health and safety, they'll actually come here for me to go through. So these are SCORM files, normal induction files that you'd probably use within your business, but you can put them into the app as well. And that means that your guys can do them whenever they've got a moment to do them on their own device. TOKN also records the result of that learning management. So if I look at this, so we've got a module here called CMS, Content Management Service, and as part of that is the LMS function here. So here you can see I've created a folder in here. I've called it Workplace Health and Safety, and I've actually loaded up a hand and finger safety training module. You can upload your own training modules. Once I've done that, I've actually allocated it to teams within the business. So here you can set up groups. I've set up a couple of groups based on the users within my business, and I've actually allocated this particular app to this. I've assigned this particular group of people to this induction module. Further up here, I can actually start to get a bit of progress. So here's the summary. I can see I've got 4 users allocated. Nobody's started yet. Nobody's completed it yet. So our completion rate is 0. But as people start to adopt the module and get through it, especially if you've got a couple more people involved in your business, you start to get an idea of who's read it or who's gone through the induction, so that you're a bit in control of the learning management side of what you're offering. So just wanted to cover a bit on a bit of the learning management capability within FieldSafe as well. Okay. I think that's about what I wanted to cover today. I would like to open the floor for any questions at this stage. just to see the interest and the thoughts that you have. Bear in mind that the apps that I've shown you today are configurable. We do different versions of them. So what you've seen might not exactly be what you're doing in the business today. Just bear that in mind.
You can unmute yourself for everyone on the call who'd like to ask a question, or you can pop it in the chat. What other apps does TOKN have?
We've got a whole lot of other business and productivity related apps as well. Some of the common ones are our contracted timesheeting module. Contracted timesheeting comes with an approvals engine as well, so making sure that the time is captured, but that your overtime, your any editing or approval or rejecting can happen before hitting your payroll. So just making sure that you get a better payroll cycle fully integrated with your I guess your finance system is important. So that is a big one. We also cover for pretty much any of the business functions. So we do field service. There's quite a big one as well. So making sure the techs out there have access to the work and appointments they've got to do in sequence that they've got to do them, and the right information from the jobs and projects that they're doing. Bear in mind, all of the TOKN apps do run offline, okay? So that is a difference between what you'll find with some of the standard ERP apps out there. We also have a suite of purchasing apps as well, and expense capture apps and HR apps too. So depending where you want to go with your business, you can actually use this platform to manage some of that digital strategy that I think everybody is now going into.
Awesome. Thanks, Clint. Does anyone else have any questions you'd like to ask?
Quiet.
That might be us, I think, Clint. I think we can wrap it up. Thanks for joining this month's webinar, everyone. Huge thank you to Clint for running us through FieldSafe product and for explaining how TOKN can help you. For anyone who'd like more information on the topics covered today, I will recap what Clint has just run through and send it out in an email with a recording of today's call. And please reach out to myself or Clint directly if you have any questions.
Thanks very much, Elise, for having us. Appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
Always. Thank you. Bye.